I played Apex Season 16 a little early, and today we're going to go through everything that you do need to know about the new season, plus my thoughts on it. It's looking pretty good, I'm not going to lie, but not everything is perfect, and we'll touch on this as well. We've got a new weapon, revamped classes, legend adjustments, a lot of them, weapon adjustments, new modes and new ways to play, plus a lot more. It hurts me to my soul, but I cannot show footage just yet. It is just the way it is, but I will say, hit that like button and subscribe, as there is a lot of stuff coming out that you won't want to miss. A lot of stuff. It's also my birthday today. I turned 30 plus a few years old. I will say that I still feel like I'm 18. Maybe I'm having a nice little quarter life or third life crisis. I don't know. I expect cake emojis in the comments. Kicking it off, the theme of the season is revelry. You probably heard this by now. Season 16 is definitely taking a step back. Maybe not necessarily in terms of content, but we are going to have no new legend for the first time ever in the past 4 years, which is honestly kind of a refreshing change. I do think they can continue to release new legends, but having a season with no legend and focusing on that quality of life, I think it's going to be a massive improvement for the game. Because it is more of a quality of life season, they really took a hard look at everything that is in the game with all the legends, and they are providing us with a lot of changes. The first is, of course, going to be the new class system. Apex Legends did rethink and rethought how those classes are working in the game. Previously, we kind of know that like Assault Legends and certain legend classes really meant nothing. Rather, it was just a reflection on their playstyle. Now, every single class is going to have a little way to impact gameplay, which I think is awesome. Quickly going through it for you, Assault classes do get to open a red loot pill. This has smart loot attachments, and you can carry more ammo on Assault classes. Skirmisher Legends are the movement legends plus Mirage, oddly enough, which does sound a little weird, but Skirmisher Legends can look at that care package in the air, and they will be able to tell what is in that care package before it even comes to the ground. Recon Legends lose the ability to scan the recon beacons, and they do gain the ability to scan a survey beacon, which is basically map room from Kings Canyon. They can see where all the players are on the map for 30 seconds. Controller Legends are those legends that are going to be controlling areas. So this is like Watson and Caustic, and Controller Legends do now get the ability to scan the recon beacons, because obviously they are the ones that should be getting that positional awareness. And finally, we do have Support Legends. Newcastle and Gibraltar are now Support Legends. And Support Legends do get to open that blue loot pill as a whole class, not just Lifeline now. Support Legends also can craft teammates' banners in the crafter, even if they're expired. So if your teammates go down, you cannot go get their card. You can't just go to a crafter, craft their banners, and you are good to go once you get to a respawn beacon. That's a very high-level overview of the classes. Again, I'll have more later in the week. For the legend adjustments, there is a lot there, but they did focus on 7 legends mainly: Bloodhound, Seer, Horizon, Wraith, Pathfinder, Lifeline, and I think that's it. Mainly. For the Recon Legends are scanners. That Bloodhound and Seer class, basically they toned back scanning. Seer's ultimate takes longer to come back now, and Seer's scanning with the passive is no more live. You have to wait for the heartbeat to actually pulse on the scanner for actually to take effect and scan enemies, which I think is a huge step forward. Bloodhound's ultimate got hit pretty hard. They no longer can scan faster when they are in the ultimate. Rather, Bloodhound as a whole is more about tracking. So when you are in Bloodhound's ultimate, you're going to get a white Raven, and that Raven is going to lead you to the nearest squad, so you can't fight those enemies. Both Wraith and Pathfinder get buffs to their ultimate abilities by basically letting them travel about twice as far. So Wraith's portal is like 150 meters. Pathfinder's zipline's like 350 to 400 meters. And you also travel faster on Pathfinder's zipline now, which is pretty huge. It's actually wild once you do see it in the game. Horizon did get that nerf to her lift where you can no longer shoot with perfect accuracy when you're going up the lift, but they did compensate it with also giving the lift a buff where you can move up that lift a little bit faster than you used to. So I think Horizon is mostly a net like no loss or no gain. And then we do have Lifeline. Lifeline's care package now comes in faster, plus Lifeline can revive players without having that slowdown effect nearly as bad as it previously was. And I did forget, and I don't know how I forgot about it, but Mirage is getting the biggest buff of them all, and Mirage is now going to be able to revive players, and once you do revive that player, you're going to have an invisible cloak for 3 seconds even after you get up off the ground. Now, I think this is going to be huge. Basically, it's going to let Mirage and that reviving player be able to live a little bit longer and be able to reset a little bit more. You cannot pull your gun out or shoot your weapon. The cloak will go away if you do this, so just be warned about that. I think this is a fair trade. Shooting someone when you're invisible sounds a little weird, so I understand that. Mirage also gets to see where people are moving when they shoot his decoys. You can do this right now, but in Season 16, it's actually live, so for about like 2 to 4 seconds, Mirage's Bamboozle tracker is going to follow the enemy and give you a little recon on them, which is pretty dope. That's everything for the legends for the most part. There's a couple other small things, but moving into the new ways to play. We do have Team Deathmatch coming into the game for the first time ever. Unfortunately, Arenas is going away. You will no longer be able to play Arenas. It is being sunsetted. It's a little sad, but I do understand their reasoning. Basically, they just said they don't want to have two sweaty modes with the BR and then also having Arenas, which is pretty sweaty on its own. They would rather have Team Deathmatch, which is a little bit more casual, a little less sweat, which we'll have to wait and see. You know, everyone sweats like crazy. But Team Deathmatch is basically first to win 2 rounds, 30 kills each round, and you are going to be the winner of the game. It's pretty casual. Selecting your weapons is much like Control, where you do get 5 or 6 default loadouts that you can pick from, and these do adjust or rotate as the day goes on. Not a ton to know here. I think it is a blast. I think the mode is going to absolutely skyrocket people's skill. If you're a new player or a worse player or a less experienced player, you should be playing Team Deathmatch, as you're going to get a ton of experience in, and it's going to be a huge way for you to improve at the game. We get a new weapon, the Nemesis Burst Assault Rifle. It's been long rumored and long awaited. I think the first rumor was season 10, like a mid-season trailer, when the Nemesis first like showed up in a trailer on accident, which is crazy that it's been this long. So we get a gun for the first time in 5 seasons. The Nemesis Burst Assault Rifle, I will say, is probably going to have the biggest impact on the gameplay as a whole this season. The gun is absolutely wild. It is definitely, I think, the best gun in the game. If it's not the best gun overall, it is like up there with like the car SMG. It's a 4-round burst weapon. As you hold down that trigger, it is automatic, so it's like an automatic burst weapon, if that makes sense. And the more and more you shoot, the faster and faster the bursts do come out. There isn't as much waiting between the bursts, and that charge up does last a little bit at 100% once you do hit there, so you can move around and reposition, that type of thing. But the Nemesis Burst Assault Rifle has a 20 base mag, which is huge for an assault rifle, and it goes all the way up to 32 with a purple or gold mag, which does mean you have about 540 total damage per magazine. And for comparison, the R301 has about 360, so you get like a 70% boost in your total damage output with the Nemesis Burst Assault Rifle. The R301 actually is getting a nerf for the first time in like 2 to 3 years. It's just going from 14 damage per bullet to 13 damage per bullet, and this further solidifies just how crazy the Nemesis Burst Assault Rifle is going to be. They didn't specifically say it in our event that I attended, but I did notice the car SMG loses 1 round per mag, so basically it's going to be a little bit more in line with the R99 in terms of its overall damage per mag. Back to assault rifles though. Assault rifles across the board did receive a pretty sizable nerf to the hip fire. Respawn is basically trying to mitigate just how much players are diving right in and just like spraying, hip fire spraying with the assault rifle, or the R31 specifically, or the flatline, and they want to have it so you're more focused on using your secondary weapon like a shotgun or an SMG. There's a gold shotgun bolt entering the game, and this thing is also pretty massive. I think it's going to be one of the biggest like secondary meta things of the season. Now it gets the effects of the previously vaulted kinetic feeder, and it is on like steroids. The reload is of course when you're sliding, but you really don't need to slide much to get it to reload now. And your weapon can be stowed, and you'll even still reload the shotgun, even it's like your secondary and it's stowed. Couple other small things. Hammer points are back into the game. This makes sense to me. You know, the Mozambique and the P20 will be a little bit more viable, and the Hemlock is going into the care package. It is very good. The boosted loader is on that Hemlock by default, and it does reload to 39 rounds. So you almost have 40 rounds on an assault rifle. And the TTK is just absurd. The recoil is absurd. The Hemlock is very good. If you see it, I would definitely pick it up. For this, the Rampage does come back to the floor, and it's pretty much just like how it was before it was in the care package. Couple other small things. The firing range did get a huge buff. You can now have hit markers, so you can see how you are missing your shots in the range. The bots can move around a lot more kind of like randomly now, so you can have a little bit better training. And there is ways to now track your stats and your accuracy in the range. Let's talk about the maps in ranked Apex this season. The map rotation is going to be Broken Moon, Storm Point, and World's Edge. I'm a little bummed that we're not getting King's Canyon or Olympus. I do think those are the better pub maps, but we did get robbed on Olympus. Let's throw that out there. No changes to the maps really. They're just going to look a little bit different because they are going to be anniversarized. So basically we are going into the 4th year of Apex, and they kind of add these balloons and banners all over the maps. It is pretty cool to look at. We are getting Mirage Voyage coming back as a newish POI, and there's a couple little revamps to Mirage's Voyage. The ranked maps are going to be the 3 maps that I just mentioned, which you might be kind of puzzled, but it is because maps are going to be rotating on a daily basis in Apex Legends Season 16. So one day you could have World's Edge, next day you'll have Broken Moon, next day you'll have Storm Point. For ranked players, it's going to make the game a little bit more fresh, especially if you don't like the map. You don't have to wait an entire split for a new map. I think my biggest slight concern for the season is just the overall amount of content. There's not really a lot of new stuff. You know, there's ways for you to play the game that is a little bit different. Team Deathmatch is good, but the Legends are just getting tweaked. It's not going to massively change the way they are played. I do think you'll see a lot more Wraith and Pathfinder and a little bit less Bloodhound and Seer, but there's not really a ton of new content per se. The maps aren't really getting adjustments, so that's, again, there's not like a lot there. And we're not having a new legend, so again, there's not a new way to play with a new legend. I think it might be a little bit quicker to get stale rather than, you know, past seasons where we've had new characters. Again, I have a lot more coming out very, very soon. You do not want to miss it. Subscribe for more, hit that like button. Let me know what you think about the new season in the comments down below. I will see you in the next one.